Cosmere can be a confusing place.
From allomancy to surge binding, there's a lot to look out for.
We're your hosts and escorts to the realms. I'm Griff.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the Silverlight Guide to the Cosmere.
Welcome back, Cosmere Lights. Nope, that's not. Scholars?
Cosmere Knots?
They've already taken that.
Okay.
Cosmere Knots, yeah.
I guess scholars then, yeah.
Scholars. Welcome
Students?
back. I don't know, that feels somewhat condescending. But only slightly. Because they're listening, they can be scholars too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
we can have professors and scholars. It's
that's
like everybody
true,
does
that's true.
research.
It's just because they are still learning does not stop them from being scholars.
Right, because we're students.
Right, of course.
We're students too.
Yes. We are all studying under Brandon Sanderson.
And now I can't get the image of Buddha Sanderson out of my head.
Apparently he is rocking a new beard.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I keep up with all of his.
Yeah, it looks really good on him.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I honestly think he should keep it,
I'm
to
envious.
be perfectly honest.
Actually, I'm envious. Before we start talking about the Yumi box and
Yes.
White Sands,
Yes.
on Facebook, Sanderson posted a thing showing that his son knows how to mod Plants vs. Zombies.
Okay.
And he put a picture of Sanderson on the head of whatever character. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is that the little script in the game goes, hello, and then insert your name.
Okay.
And the name was Zellion,
Okay.
which is the somehow related Stormlight 5, going to be one of the miniatures in the Kickstarter miniature campaign.
Right.
That we haven't seen
Yes,
Zellion. Yeah.
Right.
So I want to know if, because we know that Sanderson incorporates real life things for him,
Right.
like things in his real life,
Right.
into books. Like Toria in Yumi and the Nightmare Painter is Tor, right? The book,
Right.
book
Yes.
publisher.
Yes.
Alstrom's been in there, Bilmington, so on. We've gone over some of these.
Right.
So I want to know, was Zellion a name he created first, or was it the character that he named Zellion and then he started using it? Or
Right.
a third option, which would be less impressive, would be, is it he started using it as a name for just the purpose of gaming now, or just for this photo?
I don't know.
Nobody's gonna know.
No.
I mean,
but
I could ask a question at Dragonsteel Con.
That's true,
And
that's
waste
true.
my question on that. Raffo. Good question. You're thinking in the right direction. Raffo.
that is, I understand why he can't give answers for some things.
Yeah.
But I will freely admit, if I ever selected a very carefully curated question to ask him and I got Raffo, I think I would be somewhat let down.
Yeah. So if I was in that situation, I would have three options that I would choose from. I would go with something innocuous that, like, 95% chance that he would actually answer,
Right.
but it wouldn't be that important to the Cosmere.
Right.
I could go complete opposite and be like, there's a 5% chance he's going to answer this because it's so clearly obvious it's going to be answered soon.
Right.
He's going to Raffo it. Or then a middle ground one. And I would be upset if the middle ground one was Raffoed, but
Yeah.
also a Raffo card is a little prize in and of itself. Another thing I wanted to mention before we started talking about Yumi and White Sands and White Sand book.
Right.
I found out today that at the 2020 release party for whatever book came out, Sanderson read an excerpt from the sequel to The Sixth of the Dusk.
Oh, no. The Kingmaker one, right?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, okay.
This is, for whatever reason, and it's on the Copper Mind forum pages. It's on the 17th Shard forum pages.
Right.
People wrote it out from the they transcribed it. It is directly after
Oh, Sixth of the Dusk.
the Sixth of the Dusk, and it has Sixth of the Dusk and Vathi and
Interesting.
I can't, obviously prone to change.
Right.
Regardless of whether it's canon or not, it is something I think you should definitely read.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything else.
No. Don't say anything else. Send me the link if you can, though.
I'll try to find it.
Okay. Yeah, because I had heard his reading of the Kingmaker chapter that he did at it was a con of some sort.
I think it was the Rhythm of no, it wasn't the Rhythm of War release. It was the
anyway, regardless.
It could have been the third of the Cytonic.
I don't remember.
It doesn't
Anyway,
matter.
regardless. Yeah, no, I had heard that because I know that takes place on the same world.
At least in the same system, if not the same world, right?
I'm pretty sure it's the same world.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure, like 75-80% sure that
Okay.
Brandon Sanderson had said it was the same world as it was First of the Sun.
Cool.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll be interested to see where things go with that. But yeah, no, I'm interested in that sequel because, like you said, even if it's not canon, I mean, even if it's not canon, that doesn't mean that he won't pull things from it. So,
And maybe next time we can talk about why I think it's not canon. But if you go and read it, I'm not going to spoil anything.
right.
But he has stated since then very specific statements that are contradictory to things that happen in that.
Okay.
So just giant pinch of salt.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you want to talk about the Yumi box?
Sure.
Cool. So it comes in the nice little dragon scale black box.
Right.
Just like all the other ones.
Just like all the other ones.
The quote on the inside is, "Storytelling is essentially about cheating." From Wit. Yep. So this is... Griff, you were saying before I pressed record.
Yes, that this is probably of all the book boxes, this is the one that I am most pleased with.
Yeah.
I think that it has so far the nicest, like not to denigrate any of the other ones, but I think that this one honestly has the nicest presentation of all of the, as I said, not the swag boxes in general,
Right.
Specifically the book boxes.
Right. I think I definitely agree with you there. What stands this apart visually, even though the book cover is obviously unique and amazing, the fact that all of the items are different colors
Yes.
helps it stand out. I'd also like to retroactively correct myself
Okay.
for when we reviewed the Mistborn box.
Right.
I stated that I felt like that was the first one that was really worth its value. And after I said it, I felt weird about it because I don't think I actually believe that. Not that I can't hold criticism, like, not that I can't actually give out criticism, but I think really each box has been worth it
Yes.
monetarily. The Mistborn box was just extra special.
Yes, I agree.
And maybe it was the Sunni pup. Maybe it's Maybelline. Nobody knows.
I can't believe it's not butter.
I can.
Maybe.
I'm vegan.
I'm sure.
All right, so back to the Yumi box.
I will say
Yeah.
that while all of the covers for each of the books has been done in a similar fashion, this is probably the prettiest.
I will agree with that. I really like the metallic details in
Yes.
the blue and the pink,
Yes.
and just so many, especially after you've read it, so much symbols. There's a lot of symbols here. There's a lot to
Right.
visually tie it to the book. Obviously, that's the point.
Right.
On the spine, Yumi and then the Nightmare Painter. So those as two different things
Right.
are on different plane. They've got a different orientation. So it's Yumi and then it flips the Nightmare Painter.
Right. Yes.
And that is incredibly unique.
I agree. And it's very indicative of the story, and I like that.
Very. And even the back of it is wow. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think if you look at the front, it has a certain connotation for the first part of the story, and then after a major reveal, it's one.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So light spoilers
Honestly,
without context.
These are so pretty. And
They're so pretty.
really, really want him to release the other books in this style.
It would be grand. I would definitely.
I would shell out.
Not leather bound.
No,
but
not the leather
premium.
bound, but just like like
Premium
these could sit somewhere in the
free
middle.
floor. Yeah.
And because they're just so well done. And don't get me wrong, the other hardbacks are gorgeous, like Way of Kings and everything like that. Like the inside art is beautiful for Way of Kings.
Yeah.
But I would just love to get it in this style. Like even if it's just the planet's symbol on the cover in like metallic, like Roshar or
Sure.
or Scadrial or whatever, like even if it's just the symbol for the planet in a metallic ink on the cover with Way of Kings or
Sure. All at this height,
Words of Radiance.
all at this quality, absolutely.
Yes.
I think they could go a ton of different ways with covers like that. I would go for something like this that alludes to like the major point of the story.
I mean, of course, that's what I would be most pleased with. But if they were just trying to get them out as sets, then I would still be pleased with just the planet symbol on the cover and then the title of each individual book down the spine.
Yeah.
Because they're so goddamn pretty. And it would be interesting to see what they do with the color scheme, because colors have obviously been very, very important in Sanderson's
That's right.
stories. Like colors, or all of the investiture, I believe, usually has some color component, even if it's not as important as it is in, say, Warbreaker.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Warbreaker is 100% importance.
Right, but like even if it's not that important, it still definitely there are some color aspects to it, because like the Rosharans have the gemstones for the Fabrials, and
each of the Knights Radiant orders have their specific color.
Right, that too. I think that the only one that I've seen where color really isn't important is Mistborn.
True. At the same time, though, descriptions using color are there. Like,
oh yeah,
when you burn steel or iron, you get the blue lines.
Right.
When you look at Trellium, it's got the red.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, they are there. I just think they're not as prominent as it is in some other systems.
Sure.
But
sure.
no, it definitely is still there.
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah. Different spores on Tress, different colors.
Exactly.
I mean, Sanderson knows.
And then,
he uses color really well to delineate differences.
Yes, actually, interestingly enough, as well, on the Trell thing, because that has to do with what's it?
Autonomy?
No. There's the thing with the crystals and the wind and the plants. That's a whole different system that's actually separate from Adonalsium. Because remember, we see that being that has the pink stone coursing through his
the rosite.
Yeah, the rosite, and that's a race of beings that's actually separate from Adonalsium. They don't draw their power from right. So I don't remember where I was going with that actually.
But they're different colors. With
they are, yeah. And I think it's interesting that Actually, that's where I was going. I think it's
Okay.
interesting that the color scheme is separate from Autonossium. It's like it's a universe core thing. It is not something specific to Autonossium and Investiture in that way.
Sure.
It is something that transcends him.
Right.
And that's where I was getting with it,
Gotcha.
which I thought was interesting.
When we discussed Adonasium in the shards and the Dawn shards, did we pinpoint that the Dawn shards were used to kill Adonasium? Because for some reason I came across that fact and I was like, wait, what?
I don't think we did, and I don't actually think I knew that.
Yeah, it's on the Coppermind under Dawn shards, very specific, and they've got the quotes.
Right.
There's one in Stormlight Archive. There's a couple of times where somebody, it may have been Honor, somebody says that they were used to undo.
Huh.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because... So something that's actually really interesting to me, and I don't think it's... This is a narrative thing in general.
Okay.
This is a story thing. I am always a little bit bothered by something magical being undone by something it has produced.
Okay.
I think because, of course, I work from the idea of our world and preservation of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transferred. It seems weird that a thing could magically produce something that is stronger than itself.
I see where you're coming from. For me, in this case, not to refute that argument, but if one, I can't remember if the Dawn shards were like separate from Adonasium,
Right.
so he just used them.
Right. Yeah,
Which
that's,
could be the
that's
point.
true. Yeah, it could be. Like if they're separate from Autonossium, if he did not create them, then of
Right.
course there's no issue there.
If it was one thing undoing its maker, I could see that. In this case, I think that because it's four and they were used together and they were incredibly powerful by themselves, like they weren't, and really with the conservation of energy, they weren't really used to destroy it. They were used to separate it.
This is true. This is
So-
true. Autonossium is not dead per se.
Not dead.
He's just splintered, I guess, in a similar way that
Yeah.
shards can be
There's
splintered.
the shattering of
Yeah, the
animation.
shattering. You're right. Yeah, the shattering. So
All of that to say, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter is a beautiful book.
yes, it is. It is gorgeous, and I am excited to see where the fourth book.
I wanted to do something with you,
Okay.
and I'm going to preface this by saying that my face is going to be completely neutral.
Okay.
I want you to throw out potential titles for the fourth book, just
Oh God, I
off the top of your head. You don't have to.
I don't think I can.
All
Like,
right.
that is not where my creativity lays.
Okay. I thought it might be entertaining, but it wasn't, and that's okay.
No, it's fine, but I am excited to find out what it is. You already know, I'm
I do.
assuming. I am curious to see whether or not. One thing that I found was interesting about this book,
Okay.
and I know this doesn't have anything to do with the box per se, but
And the book's in the box.
yeah, I do find that it was probably the least illuminating on the Cosmere as a whole. Because, like, even Tress in the Emerald Sea revealed some stuff in its own way.
In its own way.
And, of course, Frugal Wizard had nothing to do. That was not Cosmere.
Or was it? I'm just kidding. No,
I
it's
fucking
not.
hope not.
It's
Sorry.
It's okay. I have no problem with it.
I liked Frugal Wizard well enough, but I really do not want it to be that would bring so many problems if it were part of the Cosmere.
Yeah, no, we don't need to go down that
Yeah.
rabbit hole. We don't need to go into that dimension.
No. But I will say that this probably brought up more questions than it answered.
Yeah, and I think you and me and the listeners need to be prepared for us to never get answers, because Sanderson has explicitly stated that he does not intend to release more of Yumi, more of Tress.
Gotcha. Which is fine. I really just want to know, one, why did that one star
we might
break
get
through
that.
the shroud? That I'm interested in.
We might get that, and mainly I think we will get that because in the book, Hoyt is like, a system you may have heard of before.
True.
We haven't.
True. But even in the book, he still says that he still doesn't know why.
Yeah.
Hoyt says that, at least.
Yeah.
But though to be fair, Hoyt is not, while incredibly intelligent and probably more well-informed about the Cosmere than anyone except maybe the shards, he's not omnipotent.
No.
Nor is he omniscient.
No.
There may be an answer that we get that Hoyt does not discover.
That's true.
Because we have not yet encountered the Shodell in the Cosmere
proper.
So that might come with the introduction. If we ever encounter that.
It could, yeah.
It might come with the introduction of the Shodell. So
great.
So that'll be interesting to see. I hope we do get an answer, because I would like to know why.
I agree.
And I think it'd be interesting. What would be more interesting, I think, would be if it was something about the planet itself, but actually unrelated to the shroud. Like it's not actually connected. It was just an unintentional byproduct of some of the magic of that planet.
It's probably what it was.
Probably. But
but I'm
yeah.
Sorry.
What would be interesting to know, and I don't know if there's anything that would refute this off the top of my head, but I wonder if it's potentially the fact that the planet is investitured. Because are there any other highly investitured celestial bodies near the planet that Yumi takes place on?
Just Komashi and Utah.
Right. And those. So I wonder if it's something about investiture being able to break through the shroud. Because we've seen it before, something similar to they explicitly or Hoyt makes an explicit reference to tin in the book.
That's true.
And so I wonder if there's a fact of because it's investiture, it was able to pierce the shroud where most other things could not.
Or it's so densely silver that, major spoilers for the book at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. It's so heavily dense with silver that virtuosity got trapped. And that's why it splintered itself, and then it can get through. It can be seen through the shroud because silver.
Okay, actually, no. You bring up actually probably the most likely thing there, which is the fact that virtuosity did splinter themselves.
I don't know if it was.
Was it ever explicitly stated as a female?
Let's open the book and find out.
Yes.
Herself.
Okay, so yes. So the fact that Virtuosity did splinter herself, and we knew that some of the investiture from Virtuosity ended up on... I am never going to remember the name of the planet.
It's Komashi. And the way that I remember it is because I imagine Brandon Sanderson, a Star Trek fan, took the words Kobayashi and Maru.
Okay. Gotcha. Komashi, yes. And Anyway, the fact is that while some of her investiture did end up on Kamashi, it's quite possible some of her investiture ended up on Utah. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that the shroud is part of Virtuosity's investiture, if some of her investiture ended up in Utah in any way, shape, or form, that would probably explain why it was able to pierce the shroud.
Could be, especially if we're considering that the shroud may be some sort of corrupted-ish kind of thing going on.
Well, especially because Yumi herself can see through the shroud, because she was, again, major spoilers, she was a nightmare.
Right.
And so she was able to see through the shroud with no issues. It talks about that. Like, that's the reference to Tin that Hoyd makes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he says that she's able to see through the shroud and something like, and she didn't even, ingest Tin or anything, something along those lines. So it would actually make perfect sense that part of Virtuosity's investiture could see through Virtuosity's investiture. And therefore...
Or could be seen.
Yeah. And so therefore it would make perfect sense why Utah could pierce the shroud.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true, but that would be how I would explain it if I were writing the series.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I imagine at some point somebody will ask Sanderson that.
Probably. Hey, maybe it'll be me at the next con.
Could be. So the other stuff that comes in the box... following,
actually, if he never plans to write anything more about that, there's a good chance he wouldn't
be so stingy.
Well, yeah, he wouldn't
with his own knowledge.
he wouldn't Raffo it.
Yeah.
He'd just be willing to answer. So yeah. Anyway,
the other stuff that came in the box, we have a sparkly bookmark.
An incredibly gorgeous bookmark.
Yes, and it is taken from artwork in the book.
Yes,
obviously they all are.
Yeah, they all are. But yeah, that in particular is just.
It's a wonderful, wonderful piece of the book brought to life as a bookmark that's inanimate. So it's not really brought to life, but that doesn't matter. Okay, it's wonderful. It's beautiful. And then we have the Yumi sticker.
Right.
Neon logo of your new favorite noodle shop.
Yes.
So this is a mostly circular with a pink Yumi in pink,
yes.
in magenta, and then a faux kanji hiragana script in cyan.
Yes. So obviously done by the Heon lines.
Right. I am neutral about how the fake kanji hiragana looks.
I'm fine with it.
It's fine.
Like, I think one of the things that I'm fine with is the fact that he's not pretending that this is Japan.
Yeah.
He is inspired by Eastern Asian cultures, obviously,
right.
But he doesn't directly steal from them, nor is he trying to pass that off as, real kanji or anything
right.
like that. So I'm okay with it.
And actually, my issue with the sticker is not with the actual designs of the fake kanji. It's actually that the blue line for the circular part looks really dense, like condensed, and this part looks more like it's drawn. And in my head, the Heon lines were more uniform,
right?
And that looks like it's physically sketched, and that's fine if, like, I can pretend that's a logo on a napkin that they have printed. Cool.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah, because the Heon lines are like bands of light. They are very, very specifically like they don't get smudged or anything like that. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah. So that's just a personal preference. Like it's enough that it's breaking my suspension of disbelief, even with just the sticker. It's like,
right. You know, as a tangent
Okay.
here.
I am also a tangent.
Yes, you are. You are. This is true. So am I.
You are. Look at you. Yeah, farmer's tangent.
Yeah. Yes. This is true. This is true. God, the audio quality just tanks right
It's
there
okay.
for me.
It's okay.
But no, yeah, I unfortunately have to wear a short sleeve shirt as part of my uniform, so there's no getting away from the farmer's tan aspect of mine. I'm not allowed to wear anything apart from there are veterans oriented t-shirts that we have, and then there's the uniform shirts themselves, and those are the only two we're allowed to wear on the job. So I can't wear a tank top or anything like that to even out my tan a little bit. I have two options.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the things that that struck me about the Heal lines, and it did kind of make me a little bit sad. It was actually in reference to the way that the ship leaves Kamashi.
Okay.
The spaceship leaves Kamashi. I feel like the two lines would have been the perfect introduction of some sort of a rail system, some sort of a train system kind of thing. It was that and listening to a review of Spirit Tracks that had me put the two together. Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, for those who are listening and may not make that connection.
Which is most people, I think.
Probably, yes. But it was this idea of like, I could have definitely seen them being, having wheels, one on each of the Heal lines, and the energy running between them being used to power the train, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he should have done that. I feel like it was a missed opportunity that he could have included a reference to at the very least.
I suspect. I agree with you. In my head, streetcars would be like in San Francisco and stuff, like
right.
that kind of rail where the electricity overhead, right?
Right.
I think that would be a really appropriate addition.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think in my mind, the city was not like big enough to warrant that.
Well, okay, but don't they... Oh, correct me if I'm wrong on this. And legitimately,
Yeah.
I actually mean correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they talk about, while it's rare, they do trade with other towns out there?
Do they not have trains? Now I'm wondering, do they not have trams that go between the cities? Because there are
that's
the
what I'm
cities,
saying.
you're right.
Like that's what I'm saying is that, like, I don't know if they ever actually specifically state how they travel from one to the other. But I feel like a train/tram sort of system using the Heal lines would be the most effective way to... Also, don't the Heal lines push back the darkness?
Yeah.
So, like, if they ran rail systems, quote unquote, from one town to another...
I feel like this is in the book and we just forgot.
Maybe. I don't know if they ever actually explicitly I mean, maybe it's implied, but I don't know if it's actually explicitly stated.
I mean, I don't think I'm going to find like an immediate thing that says, and they hopped on a train. I mean, I know they didn't hop on a train, but I typed in the word train and with the quotes for Google, and it was and it came up with a bit that was relevant, but it was the training that they did to understand each other's jobs.
Did they ever do train travel as part of going around the city?
I don't think so.
Okay. Why don't you just put in train Kamashi?
Because it's probably going to take me to a Japan travel site.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. It doesn't make any sense.
But I just thought it would have been a cool visual for the Heon lines to be the rails, not necessarily even specifically the energy running over the trains, but specifically the Heon lines used as rails.
That would be nuts. And they just cut through metal. They just I'm not seeing any father machine, blah blah blah.
Also, like, how fast can things travel on the Heon lines? Because clearly a spaceship was able to travel to another planet in reasonable enough time that, like, I don't know if the people riding on the ship, we don't know how long their travel was, but for the planets not to fuck around with each other's gravity too badly, they had to have at least been a decently far away, and they seem to make the
Well, Sanderson has stated in this one and in Tress that, and a lot of the Cosmere stuff, that there are magical reasons why physics doesn't matter for celestial bodies like that. Like,
gotcha. Okay.
He tried to make it as authentic as possible, but you can't have 12 moons orbiting a planet in low stationary orbit without there being magical intervention.
Fair.
So, and same here. Like, there's some sort of magical intervention happening that's causing them to not.
Wait, which one has 12 moons?
Lumar.
Which one is Lumar?
Tress of the Emerald Sea.
Oh, right. Of course, the 12 moons, the spores.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
Do you know that Sanderson, some of the planets he did not name, as in, like, his editor and the people that are like his close team were like, okay, this one needs a name. It's going to be called Lumar. And Sanderson just goes with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just FYI.
Oh, interesting.
Because he, in his head, he's always like, they live on the planet, they call it Earth, or they call it their planet.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
Makes complete sense. Okay. Last thing in the box.
Yes.
Last thing in the box, and rightfully so, is the Shalon Cosmere character pin.
Yes.
Which, with the painter bit and the art, Shalon.
I was very happy to see that. Yes.
She's got her little paintbrush and sketchbook, or pen and sketchbook, I guess.
And she has the safe sleeve.
Safe sleeve, safe hand covered. She's wearing the colon blue from...
Yes.
Yeah, like that looks like it's the front of, or the back of Words of Radiance. I think that outfit just standing up in chibi. Very cute.
Yes, I was very happy with the Shalon pin and the fact that we got it, because so much of the other Cosmere stuff has been, or not Cosmere, Rosharan stuff has been covered via the pins. Well, not so much, but we got Wit, Hoyd, but he has his flute, so I feel like it's Wit.
Well, I'll give you that. That's the only other Rosharan character. Vashra is there.
But no, don't we get the prince? Don't we get Adolin?
We had Raoden from
Elantris. Maybe
Elantris.
that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Shalon's the first Rosharan to be on the...
I don't know why I felt like we had somebody else.
It's Hoyd, Vin, Steris, or Vashra. I can't remember which one came.
I think Steris came first.
Steris, Vashra, Wax, Raoden, Shalon.
Okay. Huh. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
It's fine.
It was just like, I don't know why I felt like there was another Rosharan.
Yeah. Next box is Cosmere.
Which I think we're gonna get a lot of things with the different planet symbols on them.
That would be cool.
That's my prediction. That's how he's gonna make it Cosmere as a whole rather than any one specific planet. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of things with one or more of the planet's symbols on them.
Yeah, could be. Or it'll just be the Cosmere symbol on everything. And just the
I mean, yeah, there is just the symbol for the Cosmere as
Yeah.
it stands.
As it stands.
Or not as it stands, but like as a whole. That's,
yeah. And okay, something I didn't mention at the beginning. If you're listening to this episode, and I'm going to put this episode out tomorrow morning. So if you're listening to this episode and you haven't bought your Dragonsteel ticket, if you do so by the end of the 31st, you'll be entered to win the legally distinct metallic ticket,
Yes.
which puts you one of the first 5 slots for the signing at the Dragonsteel Con. Now, if you don't win that, you are still eligible for the 295 other slots or 300. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Right.
Where, and for both the ticket winners and for the the other winners, you do get to bring a +1, and then you get, I don't know if it's 1 personalization and 3 books signed, or if it's 1 personalization and 2 more books signed. So
Gotcha.
I'm sure they'll specify that as we get closer. For the last thing we're going to discuss. Oh. Yeah.
Sorry, no, you just mentioning the legally distinct metallic ticket always just reminds me of the Futurama episode where they do an Oz parody, and one of the quote unquote munchkins comes out and says, "We represent what is legally distinct from the lollipop guild."
That's funny.
Yes.
That's funny. All right. Last thing
Yes.
that we're going to discuss, although, I mean, who knows how many tangents
We
this
may
will
go
lead
off
to,
on,
because
yes.
this has a lot of tangents in it, is we got our copies of the deluxe hardcover omnibus of White Sand
Yes.
from Dynamite,
Finally.
For-
Thank you for I understand they went through a lot of trouble.
They
I
did.
understand.
And in
I
fact,
am glad that we did finally get it.
yeah, last time I had mentioned that it was rumored that they were losing money. I forgot that I had read it in a post from the company themselves saying that they were losing money on this because they have to
Right.
pay royalties and they have to pay for the production and then they have to repay for the production. That was the book. That was not me. That was not a joke. I am sorry, Dynamite, if you're listening to this. So I read it, and we're going to. I read White Sand for the
Yes.
first time, and we're going to discuss it probably next time.
Okay. I am excited about that. I actually need to read the additional pages by the time we get
Yeah.
around to that so
Yeah.
that I have that extra information because,
You do, yeah.
yeah.
A
so-
note to those other 1,000 people that got the signed version. Of course, what you actually got was a little slip that Sanderson signed, and you can either keep that on itself or put it in the book. My father-in-law happens to be a book restoration dude as his hobby. So what I'd like to do is recommend there is specific glue for books.
Yes, it is.
That is pH neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably don't need very much, but go with that if you're going to put it in your book.
When I worked for the library, we actually had that as well because
Yeah.
we sometimes had to do some book repairs and
There you
things
go.
like that. So
You heard it from the librarian's mouth right here.
I'm not a librarian.
You were at one point.
Not even then. I was a technical service associate. I do not have a librarian degree of any way, shape. I do not have a degree in library sciences in any way, shape, or form.
It's what you believe in your heart. That's true.
Okay. All right. Then yes, I am a librarian at heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I've been called a professor by multiple people. Like, not legitimately, but just like that I give off those vibes.
Sure. I think that I am a red blood cell in my heart.
That's an interesting position to take.
Yeah. Very.
You believe that you transport oxygen to other parts of the world?
Technically,
I mean,
in a way.
do you not transport carbon dioxide?
Well, it's not all 100% one or the other either
That's
way.
true. Yeah, that's fair.
It's actually mostly nitrogen.
Yeah, that's a fair point. we actually have issues with pure oxygen.
It wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't. So I was just listening to Dear Hank and John.
Right.
And like not half an hour ago, because we've been recording this for more than half an hour.
Right.
Like 20 minutes before you came over. And Hank had mentioned that it wouldn't be that bad if the entire atmosphere was pure oxygen, but it would be pretty bad if the entire atmosphere was just nitrogen.
Oh, yes, it would. That would be a problem, yes.
That was
Although,
entertaining.
I think that if the entire atmosphere was pure oxygen, would we not have larger spiders?
I imagine we would.
Yeah.
Is that the problem you were mentioning? I thought you meant like physiologically with humans.
No, I mean, the physiological human thing was the thing I was originally mentioning.
Oh, okay.
Mentioning, because the fact of like, if you have somebody come up from diving too quickly, are they not put in tanks of pure oxygen to help with?
Yeah, I think they are, to get
Yeah.
the nitrogen out of their blood.
Yeah. So and there's issues with breathing pure oxygen for too much pure oxygen for humanity, I believe. But I also know that oxygen levels in the atmosphere is what affects the size of most insects. Spiders are not insects; they're arachnids. But
Yeah.
regardless, we'd have giant bugs, which we already have some pretty fucking large bugs. So
Especially in Asia.
yeah,
It's scary.
the bird eater spiders are
Yeah, those are bad.
because they eat birds.
I mean, to be fair, birds eat insects, so it's kind of...
Yeah, no, I'm not against it. I'm just saying size wise, like if you think that we have bird eater spiders now and those things are gigantic, think about how much bigger they could get if we
Crocodile
had,
eaters.
Oh God.
Could you imagine?
That reminded me of something else. There was this really bad sci-fi movie. I don't even know what it was called.
Godzilla.
No.
Good.
It was a really, really terrible sci-fi movie.
Eight-legged freaks.
No. Where I want to say they end up with giant anacondas in Florida that are killing people, and their solution to the giant snakes is to develop a serum that makes the crocodiles grow to giant crocodiles to eat them. And so the entire movie is just giant snakes versus giant crocodiles.
That reminded me of something. And what it reminded me of has nothing to do with it. The White Sand book it's got a tasteful illustration that's done in a silver glitter, like silver paint, and then it has glitter on it.
Right. Yes.
It's very pretty.
Yes, it is very pretty.
Very pretty.
And I like the fact that he's riding on the sand because they do make mentions of that a lot.
Yeah. And then the hardcover, the slipcase part of it is, oops. Oh, right. I put that in there. Speaking of signed things. Right. The slipcase part of it is a kind of indistinct an indistinct cardboardish matte black thing. And then on one side, though, it's not completely indistinct. On one side, it has the symbol for Taldane.
Yes, in a metallic.
Yeah.
The light half is purely metallic, and the black half has a silver metallic outline.
Yeah. So it's very pretty.
It is very pretty.
They did well.
Yes, I will say, despite the issues with production, they gave a quality product when we did get it.
Yeah.
So.
One thing that is a nuisance that Dynamite has nothing to do with here is that my Sanderson shelf, the shelf that it's on, is just tall enough to put the Stormlight Archive hardcovers on.
Oh.
And this is much taller than those.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to move it over here instead of being in the study.
Unfortunately.
Alas. First world problems.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So the thing that the snakes versus crocodiles reminded me of. You're aware of the ship of Theseus
Yes.
problem.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I wanted to pose that problem to you.
Okay.
Except instead of the ship of Theseus, do you remember the name of the ship that Tress sails on?
I don't.
Neither do I.
However, I will say this. In regards to the ship of Theseus problem in general,
Okay.
is that in the Cosmere it does not exist. Because the cognitive realm completely dispels the issue with the ship of Theseus philosophical problem.
Okay, now, you're right. I agree with that. Now, imagine people didn't know about the cognitive realm. If Tress
Right.
goes around
Yes.
replacing the damaged parts of her ship with rosite,
Yes.
and it lasts forever and is never repaired, and she just keeps using rosite, at what point is it a different ship?
Again, cognitive realm.
No. From Chess's point of view, that doesn't know about the cognitive realm.
Oh. I mean, I don't think it would ever be a different ship. Like, it might be now a ship made out of rosite rather
Completely
than
made out of rosite.
wood, but where do they get the wood?
Other islands? Other
Do
lands?
trees grow? Okay.
Yeah. They're just on the one that Tress is on. It was like so small and
Right.
salty.
But I mean, I think at that point it would just still be the same ship. It would just be one made out of rosite rather than one made out of wood. I think she'd keep the name.
Probably.
And therefore, again, the ship would continue to be the same ship.
Okay.
I mean, like, even if she doesn't know about the cognitive realm, it will continue to be the same ship in the cognitive realm.
Right.
So,
Right.
which, yeah, I mean,
Unless-
honestly, the cognitive realm does completely dispel the ship of Theseus
Yeah.
philosophical problem.
Unless, what is the rosite made of? What is the magic there? Did you remember yet? The quartz, like what's the magic there? What does he call it?
I don't know if they have a name for it specifically.
Well, aethers.
Yeah, the aethers.
Aethers.
That's right, yes.
What if
aethers.
aether doesn't have anything in the cognitive realm? What if there's nothing? What if it doesn't register?
Well, but again, the cognitive realm doesn't have anything to do with Edonalcium or with investiture specifically.
Sure.
Because there are regular items that just appear in the cognitive realm. So I feel like the aethers would have to appear in the cognitive realm.
But what if they don't?
I mean, if they don't, then yes, the ship of Theseus in a very specific range with the rosite makes sense. However, I would find it very difficult to believe that that none of the aetheric aspects have a presence in the cognitive realm. Especially because what's his name is part of the Ghost Bloods.
Maybe. I mean, does investiture show up in the? Yeah, they can still use investiture.
I mean, yeah, they can still use investiture, and like if you see it in that way, the Spren are pure investiture because they are what become the shard blades.
Yeah.
And the Spren are explicitly cognitive realm beings.
Yeah.
So.
And the Aeon doors, or the.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, the Aeon. Yeah. So.
But what if aethers don't show up in the cognitive realm?
I think they would find it very difficult to travel from planet to planet if they did not. Not
like physically, not like an aether couldn't go into the cognitive realm. What if things made out of aether don't, like, even if a human thinks about them, they don't have a counterpart Like in Shadesmar.
Then I'm going to say that Tress's world probably looks very, very strange from a cognitive standpoint.
Just saying. Have we seen it?
No. We have not seen. We haven't seen
proof
planet.
either way. No. I meant like Aether, anything inside the.
Oh no, I don't think so. But I also don't. I haven't been looking for it, so I can't actually explicitly say that.
Right. We don't have proof either way.
Right.
I'm just saying, wouldn't it be neat if things made out of Aether?
It'd be interesting.
It would have to be like Rosite or
the plants.
the plants, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the other one makes wind.
Yeah, and then there's the black or the midnight essence. So
and then there's the red ones, right? The thorn.
Yeah, there are
vines.
Yeah.
So
if you had like a vase made out of rosite in Roshar, if you went to the cognitive realm, would there be a sphere for that rosite jar? That's all I'm asking.
I think so. I personally think yes.
It's a coin flip in my head. I think it would be interesting if there wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be interesting if there wasn't. I just don't think there's not going to be.
Yeah, that's fair. That'll be my question. Yeah, so if you're going to Dragonsteel, plan to see us at our booth.
Yes.
Email us beforehand if you want. And it's not going to matter. I mean, we'd love to hear from you is what I'm saying. I have an idea for something we should do.
Okay. Do we want to discuss that on the pod, or do we want to?
I sort of do, briefly. Okay. And then it can be the last thing. Because I know you got to sleep and I got to sleep and everybody's got to sleep.
Right.
Okay, so I want, and that's it, yo quiero. I was thinking we could have, I think we've talked about interviewing fans.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily fans of us, fans of Sanderson.
Right.
From those interviews, taking it and asking things that are like, if you could say something to Brandon, what would you say?
Oh, okay.
And then compiling all of that and putting it wherever and then sending it to Dragonsteel and be like, this is our thank you gift to Sanderson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that would be beautiful.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, I think we absolutely should do that.
Yeah, I think so too. So
yeah, I think that'd be great.
So if you would like to be a part of that, email us, and then when we get close to it, we will remind you to come see us, and you'll be priority on that. We'll interview anybody that comes up, but you'll be priority. So.
Honestly, with specifically that one about Brandon Sanderson, we could take that question just by itself.
Yeah.
And we could possibly start approaching people at the con rather than just people that approach our booth.
Potentially. The thing with that is recording in a way that actually sounds good.
We would need a microphone, like a handheld one.
Yes. And good ones of those cost money.
Yes.
And so we'll have to talk about that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because, I mean, we could still solicit, but we could do it from like a specific radius from our booth. And then just be like, hey, go talk with this guy over here.
Yeah.
Go to that booth. And then anyways, that's my idea.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I think
especially if we put some nice music to it, put it up on YouTube. I'm not going to record anybody's faces, but like...
Right. No, of course not.
Yeah. And we could use that to kind of launch our YouTube bit and put all of our episodes up there. Anyways, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So until next time, don't panic, World Hoppers.
Life before death, strength before weakness, and remembering to ask Brandon Sanderson about July 18th after we've read Stormlight Archive 5. Before destination.
The music you hear is Part 3, The Spirit, from Zavadilla's The Music of Elantris, produced by B-Roll Records. Available now on Apple Music, Spotify, and most music providers.
if you like what you hear and you want others to hear it as well, please leave a rate and review. It really helps us get more listeners.